I'm Leah Lawrence.
And I'm her husband, Mitch Lawrence.
And you are listening to the Southern Spirits Podcast, where I regale my husband with Southern stories of the macabre, creepy, and strange.
And I drink.
So what are you drinking tonight, Mitch?
Our beer tonight is Bombshell Blonde Ale, brewed and canned by Southern Star Brewing Company in Conroe, Texas. 5.25% alcohol by volume. Let's read the can and settle in because it's a long one. Bombshell Blonde is brewed with American Pale and German Vienna malts that combine to give this ale its distinctive smooth, creamy body. Just enough hops are added to this rich, golden-colored ale to perfectly balance its bready finish. It is non-filtered, non-pasteurized. No additives or preservatives are ever added to take away from its delicate taste. Whether enjoyed on the golf course, on the beach, or simply sitting at home, one sip from this bombshell will blow you away. Alright, we're finally done. What I have to say about it is, well, I'll just read my notes verbatim. Meh. Fancy Bud Light.
Yeah,
That's what I've got in there.
I tried it.
It's not very good.
It tastes like Bud Light with a twang.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Bud Light, then you'll probably love this. Because it's like, hey, it's not Bud Light. Somebody made it with care and love and gross. But it's okay. I mean, I'm not going to drink this again, ever. I will never drink this again for any reason. It's fine, though. I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Some of you might like it. Not my thing.
That's a little high, in my opinion. Like,
yeah.
This is one of those beers that, like, if it was free at a wedding, sure, fuck, I'll drink all of them.
I agree.
But, like, if it's a choice that I'm going to buy it myself again,
Yep. So, like I said, I had a four-word review. Meh, fancy Bud Light.
Yeah.
That's about right.
It's a very accurate description.
Our shot in the dark tonight is old-fashioned lemonade moonshine, bottled by Sugarlands Distilling Company, LLC, in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. 20% alcohol by volume. And Sugarlands puts something on every bottle they have. Like, they even have a thing on it that I think says a story on every bottle, something like that.
Yep.
It's never a story about the moonshine. It's a story about, like, the distillery or about the shine runners or something along those lines. So what we did was online description. So here's what the website has to say about the lemonade moonshine. Old-fashioned lemonade meets the tongue with a lively citrus zest that warmly gives way to the sweetness of fresh lemonade. This smooth, vibrant bite of summer sunshine should be served chilled and straight out of the jar. Fuck y'all for that tongue twister in the second sentence. Because I didn't read this. Like, most of the time I've read them and I'm ready to go. I did not read this one before we started. I don't know how I got through that. That was impressive. I'm proud of myself. Thank you.
Talented.
All right, here's a personal section about it. It's really sweet, but also mostly moonshine. There's not much lemonade flavor at all going on in this. It's really light, so it's not too terrible to sip on for a while, but I don't think you're going to like it. I really don't.
It's okay, but, like, Sugarlands makes so many other fan-fucking-tastic flavors. Why would you pick that one?
Sugarlands, we both like Sugarlands a lot, and we're going up to Gatlinburg this November again for a trip for our birthdays, and we're going to go to the distillery and buy a whole bunch of bottles of stuff that we like. We will not be getting this one. It's not good.
Let me just say, do yourself a favor, skip over the lemonade and go straight to the butterscotch. That shit is
and the apple pie.
Gold. The apple pie is delicious too. It's
peanut butter and jelly.
One. I mean, like, literally every other flavor is so fucking good. So just, like,
except
get
for
one of
maybe
those.
The sour mash.
Oh yeah,
that
but I
one's
mean,
just
like,
straight
those
whiskey.
are just straight. That one and the rye one are just straight up like liquor, and it'll put hair on your chest. That's for sure. But, like,
yeah,
I mean, every other flavor is so fucking good, and this one's not bad. It's just not as exciting as I hoped it was when I saw the jar in the liquor store. So
yeah, it's just mostly moonshine flavor. Yep. Like I said, this one doesn't have too much of the other flavors that most of them present and are really good, I think. But this one, I give it a 4.5 out of 10 on ice. It's just not good to drink by itself. You always want to mix it with something, I would say.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, I made an Arnold Palmer with Milo's sweet tea, and I gave it a 7 out of 10. Because it's good. It's not great, but it's good. Leah's drinking it mixed with Mountain Dew Code Red, and she also gave it a 7 out of 10. She likes it.
It's good.
I mean, it was okay. I think the Code Red really overpowers it, though.
Yeah, that's the point.
Well, yeah, okay. Deal then. But that will give us a 5.5 out of 10 overall. Stumbled over those words there a little bit.
Which is kind of depressing because I fucking love Sugarland stuff, but
This one's not good, though.
maybe we should stop buying things off the clearance rack.
Well, yeah, it was on closeout at the ABC store,
Yeah.
at the government liquor store.
Let me tell you, get ready because we're going to have Sugarlands a lot after we get our haul in November, so...
Yeah, the Sugarlands at the distillery, they do this deal where if you buy like 3 jars, you get them for the price of 2 or something like that, but they do it for every increment of 3. So you can end up buying 12 jars for the price of 9 or something. So I'm just getting a whole bunch of money together. Like, I've been saving up all year, literally to take $300 to the Sugarlands distillery to buy 12 bottles of moonshine. So at some point, we're going to have a whole bunch. We will not have lemonade again.
No.
That's almost a guarantee.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the alcohols. So we'll move over into announcements. I'm going to step on you for a minute here, Leah.
Alrighty.
We'll do your stuff here in a minute.
Okay.
First one, a real exciting one, at least for us. I don't know if anybody else is excited, but we sure as fuck are.
Woo!
We have been in negotiations briefly, but now we are for sure doing a live show on October 19th. That's a Friday. In Jasper, Alabama at the Tallulah Brewing Company.
Tallulah, yeah.
Yeah, so come out and join us. They said that they wanted to do a special event. They weren't sure if they had theirs together yet, but they said they might have like a pizza truck there.
Yeah, like a wood fire pizza truck.
Yeah,
and
they wanted to do, I think she said podcast and pies is what
it's going to be great.
the taproom manager over there, her name is Allison, and she helped us out. And
she's awesome,
set
by
us
the
up.
way.
And did a whole lot of good stuff, and they had that really good idea to do podcast and pies. So we're going to do a live show over there Friday, October 19th. We hope that y'all will come out. It's no like cover charge or anything. It's just come to the tap room and hang out.
Just come to the tap room and drink lots of their beer because we literally tried. I think they've got 15 beers on tap, and we tried everything that they had on tap last Friday, and that shit was delicious. I'm picky, and most of the time when I go to a tap room, there's at least one or two that I'm like, no, not so much. But I could have drank everything that I sat down and tried, and that's a rarity. Their tap room is lovely. They have penny counters, like the pennies under resin for all their bar tops.
They have a popcorn machine.
It's really classy. There's so like I said, please y'all come out and listen to the podcast live, come meet us, talk to us, and more importantly, drink that delicious Tallulah Brewing Company beer because it is freaking good.
Yeah, you were talking about their taps. Allison did tell us that they rotate like one per week almost because they do a lot of micro batches where they do like 10 gallons or something, or 20 maybe. And they do a whole bunch of that. So like every Friday they do something new.
Which is exciting. And also, they do their own wine, which is super exciting. A lot of the places that I've been to, they private label wines, but they actually, like, bring in the grapes and then, like, make their own wine, which is really exciting. And I tried their Moscato while I was there on Friday, and it was really good. So, if you're not a beer drinker, bonus points. They have wine, y'all.
Yeah, I didn't try that. I forgot to try the wine. I got really drunk on the beer.
Yeah, you did.
It was a problem. But Jasper's like an hour drive for us, too, so Leah drove us back. She stopped drinking very early in the night, I continued, and it wasn't pretty. But
it was
we had
fun.
a good time, though. So
it was a great time. So, y'all join us on October the 19th in Jasper, Alabama, if it is at all within your driving range.
It is a little out of the way.
But it is worth it.
It's small town Alabama, but it's very worth it. They have a brewery there. They have another one right up the road, from what we understand. And from what I gathered, they work together really well. Both the breweries do.
And there was a cigar shop in between.
Right down the road, like in an alley or something.
So, like I said, it's a happening place, and I think you should join us.
I agree that they should. Next announcement. Today, we got our first two patrons, first two people giving to our Patreon, and it made us realize that we didn't say where you can find the fucking Patreon in the last episode. We just gave you all the details. Well, it might help if you knew where to go. So, we're going to be linking those on our pages and everything. We just haven't done it yet because we're stupid.
Yes.
And we didn't give you the URL last time. But it's just patreon.com/Southern Spirits Podcast. So it's easy to find, but we still didn't say anything.
Yeah.
We just said go do it. Go find it. That was stupid. But that's all that I had for announcements. What's next, Leah?
I just wanted to give a shout out to our 2 patrons. We have patrons, y'all. And these are not low-level patrons. These are not $1 a piece, which, y'all, if you want to give me $1 a month, y'all, join that Possum Passel at any level you feel like you can support us. That is going to be great, and I am so happy for every single dollar that y'all can toss in our tip jar. But Leanne pledged $10 this morning, even told us, hey, you didn't get the link up. What are you doing?
I was telling you, shut up. She did not do $10, but it was on the thing.
She did. She pledged $10 and even told us, hey, you should probably put up links, which, thank you, girl.
Thank you. That was what made us realize.
Seriously, that's what made, damn, didn't do that. But she was our very first patron. So, Leanne, you are a queen. You're amazing. Thank you so much for your donation, and you will always be our number 1 patron, that is.
Come to Jasper.
And then, second of all, we had Abby pledging $20. Whoa, Nelly. So that's exciting. I don't understand how awesome you people are. It's just the best. Welcome to the Possum Passel, Abby.
First 2 founding members.
Happy to have both of you. And Abby, you better be thinking of what you want to do for your Southern Sampler, because after
2 more months.
After 2 more months, girl, we're going to get you on this show as a guest host. It's going to be amazing. And look out, because we're going to be sending you a t-shirt also. So if you're interested in being a patron, please go find us. We will be posting links in all of our profiles and social medias and whatnot. Find us on Patreon. Join the Possum Passel. We're so excited to have patrons. Which is great, but to be able to cover a little bit of our out-of-pocket expense is great, because we would love to bring more content, but we can't afford to bring more content right now. So the more money that we can raise on here, the better we'll be able to buy server space to actually put out more stuff. So thank you so much, both of you. And if anybody wants to join us, you know where we're at.
Yes, and the 2 that have done it, Leanne and Abby so far, we will be getting with you very soon to make sure that you get all of your swag and everything. So don't fret. By the time you hear this, we will have talked to you.
Yeah,
so
hopefully.
Don't worry about it. But, I'm just saying.
And also, don't forget that if you are signing up, even at that first level, you're going to be getting that sticker. Those stickers have been ordered. They are gone to the printers, but it might take a hot minute to get them back. So that's the only thing that we're really waiting on right now, is to have those finished printing. And then we should be up and ready to go.
Yep, and our store still isn't ready yet, but hey, that might be ready by the time, at least some of it might be ready by the time this releases Sunday anyway.
Knock on wood, that's my plan, but like I said, y'all, I have a 40-hour-a-week job, so does Mitch, and we both drive over an hour to get to work every day, so our podcasting space is limited. So we're going to do what we can to get that out so everybody can have cool things of us on their chests.
Cool things of us on their chests. Sounds...
Oh, and on their cans. I'm making koozies. It'll be great.
Oh, well, okay then. We're good. Well, what else do we have?
Well, I think we should go directly into funny place names.
Let's go to funny place names.
All right, today we are going to the lovely state of Florida. We are going to Jackson County, Florida. And we are going to the well-named town of Two Egg.
Two Egg?
Two Egg.
How many eggs they got in town?
I don't know. At least 2.
That's a rooster, though. He doesn't...
He don't lay eggs.
He doesn't. He fertilizes.
No. Gross.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Mitch, how do you like your eggs?
Crunchy.
Gross. That is the worst answer for that joke ever. Oh, gross. Anyway, so Two Egg, Florida apparently got its name in the Great Depression years. And, you know, that, well, just about everywhere was hard hit by stuff like that. But according to the local lore, there was a family that was so poor that they had absolutely no cash really to pay the shopkeeper for sugar and eggs and flour.
I'm having a problem over here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They couldn't, afford the sugar and eggs and flour or not eggs. They had eggs. Anyway,
Eggs.
They couldn't afford the staples at the general store that you needed to keep alive. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so the shopkeeper accepted 2 eggs for a certain amount of sugar. And so the little boys of the family would come in with the eggs and they'd make those little transactions, And the store started being called 2 Egg because, people were buying their general supplies with eggs.
Mm-hmm. They weren't using money?
No. At least not that one family.
I bet that grocer or whatever was just rolling in
eggs.
Like just fried eggs every day.
Oh, eggs on eggs on eggs.
Ugh. I get sick of eggs.
Really?
After 4 days of eating them. I've tried.
I don't think I know about this, but all
no,
right.
I'm just joking. I haven't tried.
Well, yeah, that was 2 Egg Florida.
Well, thank you, 2 Egg. We hope to get a postcard from you.
Seriously, I would love a postcard from 2 Egg.
Please.
Thank you.
All right, well, what's next?
Well, we are going back to the same place for our very first story.
Shit. Why?
Because the town of 2 Egg, Florida is home to a mysterious cryptid.
It's already creepy.
Do you want to know the name of that cryptid?
If you want to tell me.
The name of that cryptid is the 2 Egg Stump Jumper.
Oh, Jesus Christ, y'all. What did I do to deserve this?
Oh, you married a weirdo.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
Did you not? No?
No, you're right. This is my fault.
All right. Now, 2 Egg has its very own cryptid, and it is called the 2 Egg Stump Jumper.
Mm-hmm.
Now...
Crumple Humper.
No, Stump Jumper. Now... The 2 Egg Stump Jumper has been seen by lots and lots of locals. He roams through the woods and the swamps between downtown 2 Egg and the Chattahoochee River. Sort of the accounts vary a little bit, but he is a Bigfootish kind of creature. Bipedal, covered in hair, that kind of thing. Now, there are a few different accounts of, people encountering the 2 Egg Stump Jumper, and I'm going to tell you about a few of them.
I want to hear them.
The first eyewitness described hearing noises outside of his house real late at night, and he heard it, and his dogs were going nuts, and like dogs do. So he goes outside to investigate what the hell's going on, why are these animals acting like this? And he was kind of freaked out because he saw something walking upright like a person just running away on 2 legs. And he thought, what the hell? There's no real bears down there, I don't think. Are there bears in Florida?
I'm sure. I mean, it might be too hot, but, there's bears in Tennessee.
Yeah.
There's bears in Alabama sometimes, but northern Alabama. So.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. As it gets more tropical, I don't know how many bears there would be. But anyway, I don't think they're common enough for him to say, oh, that's a bear. You know what I mean? Like, it was clearly Stump Jumper, Mitchell.
I honestly didn't mean to make that mistake that time.
But anyway, the creature was, bipedal, covered in hair, and it was running across sort of this marshy swampland, just splashing away, trying to run away from the guy that saw him. Now, he was like, well, that's fucking weird, but I'm not going out there not knowing what it is at night. So he went back inside and went to bed, and the next morning he got up and went looking for whatever it was that he saw. And they found tracks down in the mud next to the water, but he really couldn't tell what it was that left them. They weren't human footprints. They were way too big to be deer footprints, and the mud was sort of muddy. It was wet and soft, and
that's really weird.
And they couldn't really tell too much about it, so they couldn't really determine exactly what it was that made the tracks. But there is one detail that I have not told you about the Stump Jumper that it is pretty, relevant. I want you to tell me how tall the Stump Jumper is.
Okay.
Is the Stump Jumper...
Are we shotting in the dark?
Oh, yeah. Shot in the dark.
There we go. Okay. All right.
Now, I want to know how tall the stump jumper is.
Okay.
Was it A, around 5 feet tall? Was it B, around 6 feet tall? Or was it C, around 7 feet tall?
What the fuck? 5, 6, or 7? Bear. So let's go 6 feet.
You're incorrect.
God damn it, dude. What is this shit about with the...
You're just bad at guessing. The creature was 5 feet tall. They call him a mini Bigfoot.
Just mini foot?
A mini Bigfoot.
Damn it.
Or even a hobbit.
I spilled some of this shit on me.
I'm sorry.
So you would say he's a Smallfoot?
Yes.
Alright, well, I'm going to try to take this shot now.
A baby Sasquatch, if you will.
Not terrible. Not good, but not terrible. Ugh.
You good?
No. Alright. I'm fine.
Okay.
That is just so sweet, but it's just moonshine with the sweet. Ugh.
Well, if you'll do better next time, I'll take the shot.
You don't want to.
I don't mind. Anyway.
It's
now,
bad.
So, like I said, people think that, I mean, you know how big feet are always described as 7, 8 feet tall, just these massive hulking things. Well, this 2X stump jumper is a little baby Bigfoot. He's described as 5 feet and sometimes even smaller. Like, these are little bitty baby big feet.
See, okay, you've said big feet a few times. I don't think that big feet is plural for big foot. I think it's big foots. You know?
I don't give a shit. I'm going to call it a big feet.
Kind of like, I mean, what's the plural of Bluetooth? Like, if you have
Blue
a bunch
teeth.
of Bluetooth speakers, do you have blue teeth?
Yes.
Do you? I think
If you
have Bluetooths.
eat the wrong sucker, you also have blue teeth.
That's not funny.
It's hilarious.
That's just really not funny. But I'm just saying, I don't know that big feet is the plural. I think it's Bigfoots.
Well, let's call in a cryptozoologist and have them explain. But
I don't
for
know
now,
about-
I'm going to call it a big
I
feet.
don't know about all that.
But anyway.
I think let's just move on.
All right. Well, so the second sighting that I was going to tell you about, an eyewitness saw a small bipedal upright running kind of creature with long hair all over the body running away through a marshy area. It says around the intersection of Circle Hill and Oak Grove roads. I don't fucking know where that is. I'm sorry, y'all.
I don't think that you should.
But it was smaller than an average human's height, but it was running on 2 legs. And like I said before, the person describes it as being like a hobbit, but, you know, really hairy, not just kind of hairy. And
Hobbits just had hairy feet.
yeah,
They had hairy foots. Hairy Bigfoots.
lol. But anyway, they also are known to make this strange howling noise at night, which you would think maybe that's just a coyote, but no, it's a 2X stump jumper.
Yeah,
and
but
they
it's a Smallfoot.
they call it the North Paramore Hobbit sometimes, but most of the time you get the 2X stump jumper.
Now, the term hobbit came from Tolkien, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so it
that was
wasn't
completely
something-
made up
I thought
from
so.
him.
Okay. Just making sure.
Now, there are also similar sightings of creatures all over South and Central Florida called a skunk ape, which we'll talk about later. But this really doesn't seem to be the same creature
That's
because there's
strange.
no smell associated with it. And the skunk ape is generally considered to be a little bit larger than the creature that we're talking about here. And so... yeah, he makes these weird, roaring, swampy growls, you know, just a...
I think that's just Big Steve. Big old Steve
It's
cat.
not just your big cat. But like a lot of people in town have heard or seen this thing. County officials, an optometrist has made an official report.
An optometrist?
Yes, a retired
Okay.
journalist, an attorney, like some people that are like legit, you know, kind of. And they said
The
here's
entire
a-
Westboro Baptist Church are attorneys, so that doesn't mean a thing.
You're right. But here's something that was taken from an article on the now 2eggflorida.org or something like that has a website, and that's where I pulled a lot of this information from. But here's one of their quotes from one of the people that have seen it. It says, "I really don't know how to describe it. I've spent decades of my life in and around these woods and swamps, and sometimes you just get a feeling that something is there watching you as you go past."
Well, that makes me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. So, like, apparently it's just a thing, and there's a picnic area down there, and they heard just that weird, startling, growly, funky noise coming out of the woods behind them, and they were just like, shit, that's weird, and they heard it some more, and they heard it some more, and it kept getting closer sounding. And they were like, well, is it an alligator? Which apparently alligators roar. I didn't know that, but they do. But it didn't sound right. And they were like, maybe it's a weird gorilla sound, which, okay, I get that it's Florida. I do. Weird shit happens in Florida sometimes, but I don't think the gorilla is the best thought there.
Might be.
But yeah,
we escaped from
another quote,
circus. We've had that before.
A quote about the sound was, it says, "It sounded like the roars that you hear lions and gorillas give on TV or at the zoo." But they had all heard stories about the stump jumper, so they're like, well, shit, do we think it's a stump jumper? And apparently they made a visual sighting of this thing sort of running across the tree line of the woods, but really there was no other, I mean, it wasn't like he didn't come up close, it wasn't aggressive, they just sort of
They just saw a bear.
Saw it in the distance.
Oh.
No, they didn't see a bear.
Well, they thought it was a bear.
But there are a lot of eyewitnesses still coming in. I've seen them as recent as 2017 written down. So it's a pretty prominent thing, but whether that's just people being freaked out by noises on the swamp or if it's actually a thing, I don't know. Like I said, they keep being described as shorter than people expect. Because when you see like a monster, you're thinking like, shit, it's going to be a 6-foot tall growling beastie. But it was like a 4'11" growling beastie with long gray hair all over its body. And you're like,
well,
okay, that's
not
fucking
scary.
weird.
That's not scary then. Kill that old man.
It reminds me, the descriptions of it remind me of, do you remember in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the demi-guys?
Yes.
It kind of looks like that to
That's
me.
exactly the thought that I had in my head, but like with a human face. And not the little sloth face.
Yeah. Like that's really, to me, what all these, it sounded like sort of the Fantastic Beasts demi-guys. So maybe that's what it actually is.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
Yeah, but anyway, everybody said it's small, it has fur all over its body, and it's really fucking fast. Apparently it can run like a motherfucker.
Well,
so.
it humps those trees.
It jumps them trees.
The stumps, you know.
And I couldn't find why they called it a stump jumper other than the fact that it's just fun to say.
So there's literally nothing about it. You see it through trees, but you don't see it on trees.
I'm assuming that it jumps from stump to stump, but where at, I don't know.
Not in Florida, apparently. We got one of y'all stump jumpers down here. We don't have any stumps for it, though. I don't know what it's doing.
Will you please come get your stump jumper back?
Yeah. It's looking all over for stumps. And we just have full trees.
Just a fucking menace down here. Get your stump jumper and take it home.
Well, is that it for one? Story one, I mean?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Thank you for the stump jumper.
Jumper.
What? What just happened over there? You have a little hiccup?
I had a hiccup, a cough, and a squeak at the same time.
And a fart.
No,
and you
there
peed
wasn't
a little bit.
There wasn't a fart involved, but oh man. Like there's a little heartburn too, though. I don't know what's going on.
You just have gastrointestinal distress.
Yes.
Right now.
Oh, I apologize, y'all. That was awful.
That was really funny. Thank you so much for doing that.
Oh. I'm sorry about that.
Stop being
I need
sorry.
to learn to control myself. But anyway, I think we should move on to story number 2, because story number 2 is a very vast story, and I'm not sure. I don't know. I kind of want to get through it before I get drunker.
Drunker than a stump pumper?
Stump jumper. Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do, if it's too vast for you, maybe we'll just save it.
I don't think so, because I've already gotten all the notes here.
Oh,
and
well,
they
then, yeah,
are
go ahead.
sprawling. Y'all, I'm already a little tipsy, and if
It's
I
a
fuck this up,
weeknight.
y'all.
We have to go to bed.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get on with it. So we're staying in Florida for this one.
Yay, Florida!
And we're talking about a cult.
Ooh, cults are always a popular one. Mm-hmm. So what are we gonna do with a cult this time?
We're going to be talking about Cyrus Reed Teed and the Koreshan Unity.
Cyrus Reed Teed and his stump pumping jumpers, clumper dumpers.
I got a real rhymey kind of
Yeah, apparently.
episode going on today.
What was the rest of it? What was this?
Cyrus Reed Teed and the Koreshan Unity.
Okay, Koreshan.
Koreshan.
What is
yeah.
Koreshan?
We'll get there.
Okay.
All right. So Cyrus Reed Teed was born
Please don't say his name anymore.
I'm gonna say Reed Teed as many times as I possibly fucking can because I love it.
All right.
Now Cyrus Reed Teed was born in
Oh,
1839 in Trout Creek. That's in Delaware County, New York. If anybody cared.
Trout Creek.
Trout Creek.
Okay.
And he was born to his parents. Obviously, that's how that works.
No. Wait a second. Wait a second. This is getting so juicy.
I'm sorry. But his dad was a Baptist preacher. So he grew up in, I never know how to say that town name. Utica, Utica, Utica? Utica.
You say the U.
Utica. Okay. Well, he grew up there, and apparently there
stick
were a
with Utica.
lot. Sorry. Apparently there were a lot of Baptists in that area, and he went to church. And his daddy was a preacher, a Baptist preacher. His grandfather was a Baptist preacher, and they sort of set him on that kind of path as a young man. And he was a really charismatic kid, really great public speaker, and his parents really wanted him to be a Baptist preacher, like his daddy and his granddaddy. But turns out that just wasn't his thing, and he chose to become a doctor instead.
Nice. A doctor of what?
Eclectic medicine.
What is eclectic medicine?
That's a real good fucking question. From what I can tell, and now he did graduate from an actual eclectic medical college, but from
Doesn't mean anything.
I know, right? But from what I can tell, it just means that he's more of an herbalist. You know what I mean?
A natural, whatever they call them,
like not quite a naturopath, but like in that vein, in that direction.
Real doctors is what we're saying.
I not even that, because I mean I really feel like he is kind of, but not. It's.
Excuse me.
I don't like. It just seems to me that people in that time period could have just called themselves a doctor, and they are. You know what I mean? Like it's.
I can do it now, but it won't help.
That's illegal. I mean, and it was illegal back then too, but much harder to prove. But anyway, he decided to become a doctor like his uncle. So he studied with that guy, and he went to that medical college, and he became, a medical dude.
So his uncle was the professor? Is that what you were saying?
No, his uncle was also a doctor who he apprenticed with.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
all right, I see what you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in 1896, Cyrus Reed Teed was 30 years old. But not only was he a doctor, a medicine man, if you will, he was also an alchemist.
Oh, that's always fun.
Because that's something that goes together.
I mean, most of the time when I play like a RPG or something, I normally go heavy alchemy. Make a whole bunch of potions and
Yeah, well,
shit. Was he doing that? Was he making potions?
he was trying to turn lead into gold because alchemy, right? Now, late one night, he was working in his alchemy lab, and he swears that he transformed lead into microscopic molecules of gold. He claimed that night he felt that there was a mystic hand at work in the lab with him, and that, just basically this hand of a higher power was moving him to make this discovery, and he felt like it was just this big fucking deal. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And he believed that, so there wasn't just physical things and spiritual things. They're not separate like some people think of it. He thinks that everything physical corresponds with a spiritual other. You know what I mean? So they're all combined, and if you change one, you change the other and all of that.
Right.
So
that's not that out there yet. A
nope.
lot of people say stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're getting there.
You get there.
But he believed that this mystical hand of God or whatever that had guided him to change lead into gold was really setting him up for a more important thing, transforming the human soul. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. So if it was possible that he could turn, lead to gold, it might be possible that he could turn diseased flesh into flesh,
gold.
or cancer into not
gold.
Cancer.
That's the point of alchemy, I thought, is everything turns to gold. I thought that's what it was.
Yeah, he's got the Midas touch. It's a problem. But anyway, and he thought that by using alchemical processes, he could possibly achieve basically the Philosopher's Stone. He could be immortal. Right? What all fucking alchemists through history think that they can do.
Is that what alchemists think gold does? Is make you immortal? I don't understand the gold part that goes into it,
That's just sort of a bonus,
It's a byproduct. Yeah, you will also become rich, as well as seeking immortality.
Rich and not dead. Pretty great. Anyway, so Cyrus Reed Teed stayed in his lab. I'm sorry, I really like his name. Cyrus Reed Teed stayed in his lab, and he kept working and waiting and just being all like, yeah, that mystical, magical hand, come on. Like, let's do this shit.
Come on, mystical, magical hand. Come
do
on.
This. Well, it turns out he was also really big into working with electromagnetism and that kind of thing. And from what I could tell, he got shocked like a motherfucker, and he passed out.
Just one time?
Just,
That's not that big a deal. It's just once.
Well, he had a vision while he was unconscious. Shot in the dark.
Uh-oh. What? Here we go.
What was the vision of?
Oh, God.
Was it A, Christ crucified? Was it B, the Blessed Virgin? Or was it C, a crowned angel?
You did good to disguise yourself there. Oh, God, let's see. All right, so... angel, crucified Christ, or virgin. Since he's all about, immortality, I don't know how this fits, actually, but I'm going to say the virgin.
You're wrong again.
God, fucking shit. We're not doing this show anymore. We're just not doing it.
It was a crowned angel. Here, I'll do a shot with you.
You don't want to. I'm telling you. This is really bad. Hold on. Let me fill it. Oh, shit. All right. Ready?
Hold on. Let me get a chaser. That's water, but it'll be fine.
1, 2, 3. Oh, not good.
No, that wasn't a very good shot. That aftertaste will get you.
Yep. Yeah, this is really bad aftertaste. Oh, Sugarlands, you can do so much better. I'm so disappointed in you.
Ugh.
Yep. Really bad.
All right, well.
God, hold on. Let me just... I'm not a fan.
If we're going to have sound effects, that's a good one.
Perfect, Tom.
All right, so...
Thank God. That felt like I was going to throw up. Oh.
It was C, a crowned angel. So...
Was it one of the named angels?
Not specifically, but it is... Well, let me go from there.
Okay, sorry.
So he got visited by an angel, and the angel matches the description of a portion of the book of Revelation where it describes and this is a quote. Hold on. Sorry, that's not what Revelation says.
End quote. We continue.
Revelation 12:1 and then 12:5. It says, "A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she brought forth a man-child, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron."
Yea, let his name be Cyrus Reed Teed.
Well, yeah. Teed believed that he was this man-child that was spoken of in Revelation, and that the angel was, and this is a quote from him, the divine motherhood.
Ooh, gross.
So he said that in this vision, the angel promised that the angel would bring him an earthly woman to help him with his work. She would be Teed's equal. They would be, partners in this. And that when the time was right, the angel would descend into this woman and possess her. And, from then on out, he was looking for this lady. And he referred to this whole experience as his illumination, and he wrote lots of shit about it. There's only one problem. He was already married to his second cousin, Delia.
Okay. I was in one of those things where I wasn't not paying attention, but I was like, okay, Leah's going to talk for a second. He was married to his second cousin, and I was like, oh, he was married to...
Excuse me?
Oh, that's upsetting.
A little bit. I mean, it was very common back then, but
sure, but it still bothers me now.
But anyway, so this angel's promising him this earthly woman to help him with his work, but he's already married to this lady, and she's pretty sick, and they have a kid together, and it turns out their son was actually a really good artist, but he really doesn't come into play with this because, anyway, he was not a follower of his father at all, but he's a good painter. But anyway... Yeah, the wife really doesn't come back in it. Like, she dies pretty soon after that, and...
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm. So, he's free to get this angel lady.
Was he fucking the angel lady?
No, turns out, not at all.
No, she was fucking him.
No one was fucking anyone. That's part of it.
Well, god damn it.
We'll get there.
This is a shitty cult, then.
I know, right? Anyway, so... And Cyrus Reed Teed was actually distantly related by marriage through that lady that died and has no more to do with this story. But he was related by marriage to Joseph Smith, who was obviously the founder of the Mormon Church.
This just gets more and more upsetting.
And there are a lot of influences from Smith on Cyrus Reed Teed. The stories of the angels coming to him, and the fact that he successfully built this big culture in the Mormon Church. Just sort of, it was very inspirational to him, I think. And
what Mormonism was?
Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, a lot of the different imagery and stuff that he said happened to him in his illumination is very similar to what happened to Joseph Smith, or what is referred to in the Book of Mormon to have happened to Joseph Smith.
Right. They had similar experiences with a female angel that came to them during the night
and told them, hey, you're the main dude, keep going.
There's something buried in your backyard. You can find it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So after his illumination, he began sort of thinking about shit and just thinking about shit. And he was forming sort of the basis of what would become Koreshanity, which is what he called his religion.
Okay.
And now Koreshanity is just basically every little piece of weird shit that he ever picked up in his life just glommed on together. Just a big, mysticism and Catholicism and Methodist preaching and Baptist preaching and Buddhism and spiritualism and occultism and every kind of weird bullshit that he could roll into one ball, he did. Now, on the surface, originally, they were sort of an Old Testament-y kind of thing. Now, he believed, and this is where the name comes in, that he was the reincarnation of King Cyrus from the Old Testament.
Okay.
And the name Cyrus in Hebrew is Koresh. And so he called himself Koresh because he was the embodiment of King Cyrus.
I get it now.
And that's also where, the Branch Davidians, David Koresh, same thing.
Yeah.
Same word, same name. Lots of creepy cult leaders seem to think that that's a thing.
They weren't related or anything,
No,
were they?
not at
Okay.
all. Completely different, completely separate. Just use of the same name.
Yeah.
But he preached that he was the last in a line of prophets that had included Adam, Enoch, Noah, Moses, Abraham, and Jesus.
And Cyrus Reed Teed.
And Cyrus Reed Teed.
Naturalist healer. He comes bearing the
And
message.
alchemist, you forgot.
Yeah. He comes bearing the message of gold and essential oils.
I like essential oils.
Yeah, they're fun,
They
but they're a
smell nice.
gimmick, you
Yes.
know.
But they do smell nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, but Cyrus Reed Teed
Sugar
taught
water.
his people that God only revealed as much to his prophets as the people of the time could take hold. So, you know, he gave a little bit to Adam, then a little bit more to Enoch, then a little bit more to Noah, etc., down the line. Now, that means that Cyrus Reed Teed would be the ultimate prophet. He would know everything and disclose it all as soon as his followers were ready. So he obviously had to build a following. And then God would dispense his holy wisdom through Cyrus Reed Teed. Now, how do you get followers when you're a crazy crackpot narcissist?
Apparently, it's really easy. I've never tried it, but all these people are very successful.
Well, it turns out that he had a little bit of an issue to start out with because he was a doctor. And what do doctors have? Patients. Who is he going to try to convert? Apparently his patients. And he became known as a crackpot all throughout his area. Like, just, he moved to like 3 or 4 different cities. He was a failed doctor in all of these places, moved to Pennsylvania. He was alienating people. Nobody wanted to pay him. Everybody thought he was fucking crazy.
Because he was.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. But, like, he just abso-fucking-lutely nuts. But anyway, for whatever reason, someone in Chicago heard him speak somewhere and was like, yeah, I like the cut of that man's jib, and totally invited him to come speak at some event in Chicago. And so he ended up moving there. At this point, his wife had already died. So he moved there and started a following, and they had some issues, and there was a hullabaloo, and they started a printing press, and etc. But that part is not the interesting part of the cult, so I'm just going to wrap it up in, they got some followers in Chicago, but people in Chicago were like, you should probably pay your bills, and he was like, let's move to Florida instead.
Nah. I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I want to keep all the money.
Now, a little bit more about what they're talking about. Like, it's so expansive, and I don't know which order to tell all this shit in, so I'm a little bit drunk. If this doesn't make sense, I apologize.
It makes sense so far.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
Cyrus Reed Teed's whole thing was that, you know, he was a prophet from God and all that, but it's about to get a little bit more strange.
I was going to say, don't say weird or strange, because it's, excuse me, because we're there.
Well, it turns out that he does not believe that Earth is a globe, like a normal, like...
Oh, he's a flat
solar
earther.
Oh, no. He's a step further. He's a hollow earther.
Oh, one of those. Okay, yeah, those are fucked up.
Yeah, so
Those are
he
really
believed
fucked up.
that the Earth is a hollow spinning sphere, and that not only is it hollow on the inside, this is an extra step to the crazy. He believes that we're living on the inner walls of the globe. So, like, imagine
Okay.
a school globe and cut it open on the inside. We're living on that inside part of the globe, and that the sun and all the other stars are the interior. It's in the middle.
It's extremely problematic, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
He believed that it was sort of like a big womb kind of thing, and it was the Earth, and that the planets and the suns were suspended in the center, but not the moon, because the moon is just an illusion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because
That fucking moon's always
Fun.
been playing tricks on us.
But he believed that there wasn't anything called gravity, that the sun just put out gravitational rays or something like that, and it held everything in place.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Because, fine, whatever. But this sort of thing really resonated with a lot of fundamentalists, like Protestant fundamentalists at the time, because it's really hard as a human to realize that you're a tiny speck on a tiny fucking planet in the middle of this vast universe, and they didn't believe that God would do something that would, like, blow people's minds like that. It was something that, like, God would make it easy to comprehend because he loves us and he wants us to understand shit. And so it's this big egg, you know what I mean? Like, that's...
We're living on the big egg.
We're living inside the egg. Because
inside the big egg.
Inside the big egg. And so a lot of people were like, yeah, that fucking makes sense. Great. So he ended up having about like 4,000 followers across the country in different places because he's constantly traveling and speaking at all sorts of different engagements and stuff. And there was a cult movement based on, and this is a book that he wrote called Cellular Cosmogony.
Okay.
And it is
Do we have that book? Can we read that book?
Yeah, you can go buy a copy of it if you want to. It's on Amazon. Sounds a little dumb, but
I'm good.
Yeah. But he has just this weird mixed up thing of science and religion, and just, it's fucking weird. But he preached that he had discovered, and this is a quote from the book, the vitalis of the great cosmogonic egg.
Explain every word of that, what you just said.
Translated into layman's terms, which, by the way, he likes to make up fucking words. Like, that is 100%, like, we'll talk about that later, but he just makes shit up because it makes him sound smart. But that is translated to mean that he found, basically, the belly button of the earth. He found the epicenter of the second coming of Christ.
Was it an innie or an outie?
It was an innie.
Are we living in the belly button? Are we the belly button lint?
Teed calculated this earthly belly button to be near Fort Myers, Florida.
Of course he did, because it's hot as fuck in Fort Myers, Florida.
And it's swampy like a belly button.
Oh,
Which
God, that's
also
really funny.
makes sense to me personally, because my daddy used to say that we lived in the armpit of the universe.
No, he's,
And
I mean, kind of.
I mean, yeah, I kind of feel like that's sort of accurate, and like the armpit's real close to the belly button, so, I mean, Alabama, Florida, armpit, belly button, it makes a lot of fucking sense to me, but,
Yeah.
you know, maybe that's just me.
That would make, like, literally the very tip of Florida, like down in Miami, like the pee hole.
Yeah, it's literally shaped like a dick, Mitchell.
I know,
What did you
I know.
expect?
Cuba's the taint.
As much as I want that to be the episode title, Cuba's the taint,
Cuba
I
is
don't
the
think we
taint.
can do that.
Cuba is the perineum.
Oh,
Perineum?
gross.
How would you say it?
Perineum.
What's plural for perineum? Is it perinetes?
Perineums. Perineums?
Perineums. I don't know. I was trying to make a referential joke. Yeah, just the one perineum's good for me. Perineum.
Oh,
Oh,
gross.
man.
Anyway, let's move on.
Good laugh.
So anyway, so it's in Florida, near Fort Myers. So in 1894, the Corrections found 300 acres of land in Estero, Florida, and it had been settled by like a German homesteader who had made a land claim in that area, and his name was Gustav Domkohler.
Domkohler?
Domkohler.
Okay.
And Teed really hyped his vision up to this guy. He was like, this land is going to be the future location of New Jerusalem. Jesus is going to come back here. It says it in the Bible. This is the place. It's going to be the largest city in the world. It's going to be 10 times bigger than New York City. Within a decade, there are going to be 100 million people living right here. And that German guy was like, hell yeah, that's fucking awesome. And so he sold him that 300 acres for $200.
In what year?
In 1894.
Okay, that's a lot of money then.
It's still not enough money for that.
No, it's not.
Even fucking close.
It's not, but I thought that it would have been, Anyway, my point was, I thought that it was a whole lot cheaper.
Yeah, it's still ridiculous.
Than it was. It's still crazy cheap, but,
But,
I mean, fucking your grandfather told us that back when he bought land to build a house in, like the 70s or 60s or 70s, he paid $500 for the plot of land. Mm-hmm. So, which is not near that size, but you know what I mean.
Well, no,
now
that's
a plot
the
of land
2
that size is
acres that my dad's-
$40,000 at least.
Well, what that price is that 2 acres that Daddy's house is living on.
Right. Mm-hmm. And he paid $500 for it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
I mean, 2 acres around here is still a good $20,000.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Inflation.
I feel you. But anyway, so they bought it, and they started building a commune there, like a legit communist commune. Everybody pitches in, everybody gets the same amount in.
Everybody.
And everybody calls you Fred.
Everybody calls you Fred.
I did when I was a little kid. I thought that was everybody calls you Fred because I knew a lot of Freds.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but
yeah. So you literally did call everybody Fred.
I did call everybody Fred.
You'd fit in perfect at a commune.
But anyway, according to a newspaper article from the time, after they established it, the Croatian colony had the largest population of transplanted northerner than any other place in Florida. It's a lot of fucking people.
Yeah.
And that means not only were there Yankees, they were damn Yankees.
And they were living in the belly button.
Oh, gross. No, I don't know if anybody...
Do you think he told everybody that? Did he tell everybody, or did he, tell his... You know how Scientology has, Thetan level 7 or whatever, and that's when you get the actual secrets. Did he have, levels, and he's 4 or 5 people know about the belly button?
No, everybody knew about the belly button.
Well, never mind.
I was trying to tell you about my damn Yankees joke, and you just ruined it.
Oh, go back? All right. So they were damn Yankees.
Yeah, they were. No, it's a old Southern people say, we don't mind Yankees coming down here. It's the damn Yankees you got to worry about. It's the Yankees that come down here to stay. They're the damn Yankees.
Oh, that was the joke?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, we shouldn't have done that then.
I'm sorry. I love everybody. Love y'all.
I thought there would be a punchline.
That was the punchline, damn it. I am drunk.
That sounds a lot like setup. That sounds like there's more coming.
Maybe we should workshop this a
You've
little bit
done
later.
Act 1 and Act 2. Bring it home.
Working on it. Anyway. Sorry, guys. My stand-up set apparently is not tight and ready.
Maybe workshop that one a little bit.
Working on it. Anyway, so they built a commune, and they believed in equality for everybody, regardless of race or sexual, not sexual, but gender. Everybody was the same.
By gender, you mean just traditional male and female? Yes,
male and female. We haven't advanced beyond the gender binary at this point.
2017 of, I am the 14th gender, actually.
I'm cool with it. Whatever you
No,
want
not
to
me.
be.
I'm saying we haven't reached that level in the story.
No,
the
there
point.
was
No, I am your basic straight cis white male.
It is a gender binary at this point for
Right.
For this society, yeah, it's chicks and dudes, and they're all equal and shit.
Well,
and
that's nice.
Also, they were very anti-capitalism, so they wanted to be self-sustaining. They wanted to make sure that everybody was working for a communal purpose. So when you joined their organization, you sold everything that you had. Everything is working towards the common good, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And they just rapidly developed into a very prosperous community. It took them a few years. There were a few years that were, mosquitoes are really difficult to deal with when you're first moving into an area like that.
That's weird. I'm confused.
Like malaria and swamps, and they didn't...
Oh, you're saying a few of them died all... okay, people were getting sick.
A few kids died because they didn't dig their wells deep enough, and they had some typhoid fever problems, that kind of thing. But eventually, everything got established, and they fucking flourished. There were... they built now the men and the women were separately housed. There was a dorms for men, dorms for women, dorms for children, because they didn't believe in... So, like, if someone had a child, they didn't believe in just that one parent parenting the child. Everybody parented together in a community. They wanted to break family ties. It was everybody belongs to the same family. And
I've heard
all
of
the
like
children
communal parenting
are
weird.
raised by everybody. So they had...
How did they have children, though? Because they were being housed separately.
They didn't really... We'll talk about that in a second.
Okay. All right.
So they had a communal dining hall, they had stores, a post office. They even built, they had some steam engines that they ended up electrifying their entire community, and they even ended up selling the electricity to nearby communities, because at that point in time, there was really no electricity in Florida almost at all, and they built... I mean, there were like very well educated people that joined this. There were engineers and all sorts of stuff, and they made some really cool shit. Like, they had a sawmill and a blacksmith shop, and they made boats, and there was a bakery that was apparently really delicious.
They had a real good bakery.
They had
in
concrete plants. They had a tin works. They made mattresses. They owned a furniture factory in Bristol, Tennessee. It was...
Oh, that's cool.
They were diversified, is my point. They were growing all of their own food. They grew tropical fruits, and they sold them to the local communities. Like, they were rocking, but they also had a printing press, and they had the ability to print full color pages, which nobody else had at that point. Like, it was crazy that these people could do full color prints. It was like just this revolutionary, awesome stuff. So anytime they had a big event, they would like full color shit and just be fancy as hell. But they also really supported the arts and stuff like that. And they were the first people in Florida to have a symphony orchestra. They had a drama troupe. They had dances and bands and all sorts of... Like, it was...
This is insane.
Yeah, it was really cool. Except for that whole fucking weird hollow earth strangeness.
The belly button theory bothers me.
Yeah, the belly button's a little weird. But, I mean, yeah, for the most part, it was pretty okay. I mean, like, I'm not mad at it so much. Like, he was clearly fucking insane and a narcissist, but, like, I mean, there were worse places to be than, like, that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He was crazy as hell, but, like, it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
It seems like they took care of each other, though.
They did. Now, he was obviously the leader of the community, and... That angel, remember, said he was going to send, or she was going to send him a lady, and then the lady was going to get possessed by the angel. Well, eventually he did find that lady, and her name was Victoria Gratia.
Gratia.
And he was her divine counterpart. So he believed, and this is where we get into the celibacy thing. Now, I'm going to try to explain it without confusing myself.
Just don't confuse me. I don't care about confusing yourself.
Okay. So he believed that man and woman were separately incomplete, but when they came together, like the sexual urges that you feel are like you wanting to complete yourself, but you can never complete yourself through sex because you just reproduce another incomplete human being. And they believed that the only way to complete yourself and become immortal is by abstaining from sex and focusing on God, and that would alchemically create a whole person.
Gold.
So men would become a woman with a man inside, and a woman would become a man with
so you're
a
saying
woman
the two
inside.
genders were part of one whole?
Yeah, and you would transmogrify and become like a... So if I was doing this, I would become a man with a me inside, and if you were doing it, you would become a you with a woman on the outside. Does that make sense? You would get the other outside.
But do I start presenting as a female?
You just become like this immortal, awesome, cool beans thing.
But a female on the outside.
Yes.
I build an egg around myself.
Yeah, and then you
I
become,
get it.
Yeah,
And my belly button houses a brand new universe.
exactly.
Trust me, there's enough bacteria going around in there.
It probably
There
is
is an
already
entire ecosystem occurring in my belly button.
gross. But anyway, so that is the whole reason behind their abstinence thing. But okay, so not everybody that was involved in this particular cult was celibate. There were several different levels. Only the people that were super duper devoted and were like actually a part of the cult proper, they were all celibate, fine. But there were people that were allowed to live in the community and be a part of the community and stuff that weren't 100% sold on this whole religion-y aspect of it. And they could be married and there were children and stuff like that. But the more devoted you got to his teachings, you would most likely become celibate. Because that's how they believe that you were promoting goodness and light and all of that stuff. But with that being said, you know, this particular cult, women were way more free to, like, do what they wanted, basically. So, like, you have women becoming engineers and learning to be stenographers, and they were learning skills and trades and that kind of thing, which really wasn't very heard of. There were people that were editors and they learned to typeset and all of that stuff. So
They were very progressive in some areas,
in
and
some
very
areas they were
regressive in
very
others.
progressive. But that whole progressive thing was part of what got them in trouble, because even though that they were a celibate group, a lot of women left their husbands to be a part of this because they were like, fuck yeah, not being oppressed. And so the men started all kinds of rumors saying that he was fucking them all, basically. Which,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why you start a cult, is to have sex with all the women.
There is no evidence that I could find that any
Or
of
men.
that ever
No judgment.
happened.
No
But
judgment.
the rumors are there, so maybe it was happening. Maybe
Well,
it
where
was
did the
just smear
children in the
campaign.
commune come from?
The children came in. They never had
They
children.
were never children born
And
in the commune.
No, and that's why it started dying off, is because
Okay.
there were less members and less members coming in, and they're not. I mean, how do you how do you grow a cult? Babies. That's any kind of religion.
That's what
or
Catholicism
movement.
did.
Yeah,
Birth control is wrong, so therefore we're going to
lots
have
of
more people in the church.
whatever babies. Yeah, exactly. And so it turns out it's really hard to grow a religion without having kids born into it.
Yeah.
I mean, that did sort of lead to their downfall eventually. But more about the organization itself. They, like I said, discouraged having families. They didn't encourage biological families at all. They all addressed each other as brother and sister, and they called Teed their master, which is very creepy.
Yeah. That's where all the sex rumors came from.
I know, right?
He was the master.
He had 3 women that were called the Triangle, so that was Victoria.
Never mind. That's where the sex rumors came from.
Oh, it gets weirder.
Oh, goodness.
They were called the Triangle, and they were like the head decision makers when Teed wasn't there. So Victoria would be the head, and the other 2 were under her. And then they also had the Planetary Court, which was 7 women who were basically the elders of the community. They were Victoria's, basically like a cabinet, you know, like they helped her make all of the decisions. They each had positions that they were in charge of one aspect of the business of the cult and that kind of thing. So like I said, it was very progressive. And then there was also like a men's council of some sort, but they weren't quite as important, I don't believe. But yeah, like there were lots of different, like, I mean, the minutia that you can get into with this cult is absurd, and it's all fascinating. I very much recommend everybody go read shit about this, because like I skipped over all of Chicago, and Chicago was fucking weird too. Like
I'll say this: everybody go read it. We can start our own cult, but we are going to allow sex.
Yeah, no, if you want to,
So,
no pressure.
No. It's being forced.
Oh,
that's the
gross.
that's the
No.
cult thing.
No,
That's the cult aspect. You
I'm gonna
must
say I'm out on that one.
engage in sexual intercourse. Doesn't matter with who, though.
Still gross. Nope.
We have to reproduce because I need more followers. of my belly button.
Can't
cult.
you just put things on Instagram and get followers that way? That's what I've been doing.
I mean, I didn't know where you were going with that at first because I was thinking like those Instagram porn people, but
no. Those people
okay, I
freak
see
me
now.
out a
I
little
get
bit.
it.
There's
They
so
freak
many,
everybody out. That's why their Instagrams get, taken off.
There's so many butts on Instagram, y'all. And I'm not a prude by any mean, but like, I'm just trying to look at dog pics, y'all.
We can put mine on. We can do
thank
dog
you.
butts. We can do
Okay.
dog butts.
That would be an Instagram I would follow. Okay. We have gone off track
No, it's
right
fine.
here. But anyway, like, so yeah, it was a weird cult. It was strange. But then they were also trying to recruit more people and all that, and that didn't work very well. And there's a lot more crazy little side stories about this guy that I would love to tell, but we will run out of time. So I'm just going to sort of draw it back together, and we're going to finish this out with how they tried to prove that the earth was hollow. So
Yay, egg theory.
they went to Naples, Florida, because why not? And there was this professor that was part of the cult, and his name was Professor Ulysses Morrow. And he invented this big old instrument that he called the rectilineator, which sounds like a sex toy.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
It sounds like a sex toy.
Leah, we have a rectilineator.
Oh, and basically he believed that this thing would measure the curvature of the earth.
Yeah, it measures the curvature, all right.
Now, it was made out of 10 gigantic T-squares made of seasoned mahogany, because only the best for Cyrus Reed Teed.
And this is going in his ass?
No, it's not in his ass. It's on the beach. It's a big-ass thing. There's pictures of this thing. It's on the beach. So they set up these big T-squares, and it took nearly a month for them to complete everything, setting it up and getting it level and all that. And he had to calibrate it and all this stuff on the beach. And anyway, eventually he made his calculations with these big old seasoned mahogany sticks, and it turns out that the seasoned mahogany sticks touched the water, so wham bam, thank you ma'am, the earth is hollow. He proved it.
How?
With big old sticks.
No, explain that. Explain how that proves anything. What did they say?
Big old sticks.
The sticks fell down and touched the water.
Well, yeah,
So,
basically they were
hollow.
they were trying to. Okay, so
Go ahead.
all right, so you know what like a T-square is. So when you're leveling something, or you're
Yeah.
trying to make it square when you're building something, so you've got a flat surface. So he had like 10 of these giant, like think telephone pole size.
I know,
And
yeah.
so it's like they're assuming that this stretch of beach is completely flat, right?
Which it's not.
Which it's not.
So-
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're saying, you know, if the Earth is a globe, you would expect it to go over the water, because
Why?
this is flat, because it's a curve, like you're on a globe, and so if you've got a
Yeah.
flat thing on a round thing, it's
Yeah.
going to go off of the globe. But
Yeah, there's
if
also
you're-
gravity, though, but whatever.
Nope. The sun, remember, it's gravitron rays or
Yeah.
something. But if you're on the inside and you stick it on the surface here and it dips into the water, it means you're on the inside of the Earth.
No, it doesn't.
I am aware of that, sir, but apparently Professor Ulysses Morrow was not.
Reed Teed.
Reed Teed. But anyway,
well,
they called the...
Okay, well, they're very stupid.
Yes.
Well,
They-
okay, it was the 1900s. Let's help.
1897.
Right, it was really, it was right there. So, I mean, give them that, but still,
I guess.
fucking idiots. It's like, I've seen this meme so many times recently. It's one of those things where 2018, the earth is flat, and then the other side says 1942, artillery soldiers with a 8th grade education are calculating in the curvature of the earth to hit with their artillery missiles. You know, like, shit like that. Like,
Speaking of the 40s...
can't be stupid, but okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The Nazis actually even got a hold of this idea
Of course they did.
in the 40s, and they briefly, they got into some weird occult crazy shit, but they got into Cyrus Reed Teed's Hollow Earth theory, and they were thinking, well, if this is true, we should be able to spy on the United States by just pointing a telescope straight up, and we can see exactly what the fuck they're doing if we're on the inside of the globe. And then they were like, oh no, that's fucking stupid. And
that doesn't
they
work.
nixed it real fast. But like it was considered.
And then they tried it and they were like, it's just really dark. I don't see anything.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so basically, what happened eventually was the town, Fort Myers, surrounding the area that the Unity place was built on, they got in a battle. Basically, it was, if you've seen that Wild Country documentary about the Rajneeshis, shit went down pretty similarly. Like, they tried to vote as a block to get more tax dollars coming to their area and all of that stuff, and they got into a fight with the locals, and the locals got pissed off, and the Koreshans formed their own, they called it the Progressive Liberty Party, to oppose the Democrats in the area that were in power. And anyway, basically Cyrus Reed Teed got in a fight and got beaten up by some people, and he didn't really have good medical attention.
I thought he was a doctor, though.
There you go.
You're right. He did not have good medical attention.
There you go. And basically, he died a few years later because he never got better after being in that fight and stuff like that. So basically, all those injuries led to his death on December the 22nd of 1908. Now, here's the thing. Cyrus Reed Teed had always told his followers that he was immortal, and that when he died, he would be resurrected. So the members of the cult were like, cool, fine, great. And so he died on the 22nd, and they held his body in a zinc bathtub until Christmas, just thinking that something's gonna fucking happen. Well, finally, the county coroner came by and said, look, you have got to fucking bury that shit. That's gross. This is Florida. It's hot, even in December. Fucking bury the body. So they did, and people were like, oh, he's not immortal. This is a problem. And so...
So he had reached immortality by being celibate.
Yeah.
Is what he was claiming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him.
You know, for the next 30 years, the community was dwindling. There were a few dozen members that sort of kind of stayed there. But, I mean, within 4 months of him dying, that Victoria lady was like, okay, bye, and went and married, like, the town dentist. Like, she was not in it for the long haul.
She was not the angel.
The fuck out. I guess she was no longer possessed by the angel and was just like, peace out, y'all.
Mm-hmm. He took the angel
but
with
anyway,
him. That's what it was. He became the angel in the afterlife because he became the woman, remember?
Uh-huh.
He was him inside, but he was the lady on the outside.
Mm-hmm. But basically, it dwindled and dwindled and dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. And eventually, one of the final members donated, like, 300 acres of the original Koreshan Unity settlement to the state of Florida, and it is now a public park. It's a like a state park kind of thing, and it's listed on the National Historic Register of Places. You can go and see their stuff, their buildings, their steam engine.
Everything's still there?
Everything's still there. And you, like I said, you can go visit it today if you wanted to. But it's called the Koreshan Unity Settlement Historic District. So yeah, that is kind of most of Cyrus Reed Teed in the Koreshan Unity. But like I said, I highly recommend you looking into it if you found this interesting at all, because it gets weirder, and I just can't explain the fucking strangeness that came out of this little cult.
I mean, it's obvious that where he messed up was by saying you can't have sex at all. Because you found a cult, you want to have sex with everyone. So he's fucking up.
Maybe he was asexual. You don't know.
I don't, but he shouldn't have been found in a cult if he was. That's his own fault.
You're right. Most cults are definitely of the sexy variety. But there are several that we can talk about eventually that were not, and this is one of those.
I don't agree.
I'm sorry, but that's what it was.
Well, I don't fucking like it.
Well, I'm sorry. When you found
I like
your
the story,
cult,
though. I already told you we're going to do it. We're doing the belly button thing.
Y'all, we're not doing the belly button thing, and there's definitely not going to be a sex cult.
Y'all
I'm
can
sorry.
join, and all you got to do is just have sex once a day. Doesn't matter with who, again. But Leah and I will be the heads, and we get to pick.
No.
All right. I went too far. That's on me. I went too far.
Have you seen us? We are not.
That's why we should found a cult, because then we get to decide.
I'm sorry, but just looking at us, we are not people that should start any kind of sex cult. Oh.
But that's the point. Like, the people who found these sex cults normally aren't.
You're right. A lot of people that form cults like that are not attractive people. This guy, I didn't even tell you, but he was a tiny little fucker too. He was shorter than I am, and he weighed like 120 pounds, and he just cult weird.
Well, I feel sorry for him, because he never got to experience the bliss of being a cult leader.
He was a cult leader.
You know what I mean. The physical bliss.
You don't have to fuck to be a cult leader.
I don't agree with that.
Well.
At all.
You're wrong. It's fine. I think we're creeping people out, so we should probably move
we don't want
to
people
toast.
to actually think that we're moving into being a cult.
Oh, no.
Because,
no cults. Promise.
Hey, we made it 27 episodes. This is 27 right here, I think. Isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's 27.
Yeah, so at least we made it this far without revealing our true agenda.
We don't have an agenda, y'all. We just want to drink and tell stories. No cults.
That's pretty much it.
Alrighty. Okay, so you ready for the toast?
Yeah, just go into the toast. Forget the cult shit.
Alright. Everybody out there in podcast land, hoist your goblet high into the sky. Mitchell, hoist it.
Oh, let me hoist.
Hey. Yeah. Alright. We're going to toast the 2-egg stump jumper and Cyrus Reed Teed and his followers. When you're walking through the woods and you hear a mighty thump, don't be scared, it's just a monster a-hopping on a stump. Cyrus Reed Teed got a lot of folks to follow. Move over, flat earthers, this planet is hollow. Drink!
Very nice this week. You did so much better.
It took a while, but I feel better about that one.
It was much better. One thing, I would have definitely rhymed hump in the first stanza somewhere. That's it, though. That's it.
Thump and stomp.
It's just one producer's note. It's just coming down from the studio to let you know that that's what we want to see.
All right. I'll change it next
More
time.
humping.
More. Well, there was a lot of no humping in this
exactly.
one.
So more humping in the stories and the toast at the end.
Alrighty.
Well, all right, y'all. Make sure to come see us October 19th in Jasper at Tallulah Brewing. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Southern Spirits Podcast. We're on Twitter at S-Spirits Podcast. Send us any personal stories or alcohols we should try to our email address, southernspiritspodcast@gmail.com. Make sure to sign up on our Patreon, get you some fun swag. Join in on the Patreon experience where we'll be live streaming coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to do something because we have to get it ready now. People are actually participating.
Damn you all.
I know.
Making
really.
me work.
So get ready for that.
It's going to be great.
Send us any swag that you have yourselves. Maybe some postcards or some fun little items to our P.O. Box, which is P.O. Box 1743, Hartselle, Alabama. That's Hartselle 35640, and we'll see y'all next week.
Bye, y'all.